couple of things. One is I figured out my camera. It's that it has 8 hours and 8 minutes of ability on this clip. The other thing is I forgot to spend for the flamboyance. He has 1 prestige. Rather than lose it, I'll spend my treasury. But again, that's a problem until we can hit the 6 prestige. So we want to get there as fast as possible. Okay, so I flipped over the cards. We're ready to start. A lot of explorers out there. Britain and France have theirs available now. The Dutch still don't. And we'll start off with a Spanish explorer. Now, Spain's restriction is they can only explore in places that are historical goals. Let's see what's a historical goal that's interesting. Amazon, California, East Indies, Guyana, La Plata, New France, New Spain, Peru, West Africa, and West Indies. West Africa is a particularly interesting space. It's got slaves and gold. I wants to go there. Generally, that's probably the first place you want to go. Remember, the Portuguese actually succeeded in making their way almost to the Cape before the Americas were discovered. So it was a mistake not to go there early, especially that's only a 3-day discovery. That would be the place to go. So my seafaring is at -2. I need 1 hit, which I very easily get. I can't circumnavigate, however. Let's see my exploration. Secondary actions, I can put a merchant fleet on a resource base, or I can move a treasury there. Now, I've got this extra Maduro. That's colonization. How do I do that? Jeez. It's not in the card. Spain's conqueror can form normally or use the extra Maduro, but there has to be a mission there. Okay. So it's a little cheaper because there's more things. I am going to not just steal that. I'm going to grab a merchant fleet and put it on a gold. I get this. That merchant fleet, the gold, remember, always generates a monopoly. And my card's used up. So that's a pretty cool start. I got a prestige. Of course, those prestiges are going to start costing me. Over here, we're doing merchants. Ship goods to market, 1 for each of your merchant fleets. Well, I have 5 merchant fleets, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 materials. I have none of my own I can carry, but it gives everybody a buck, and nobody really sees something horrible about this. So the English get 1, the Portuguese get 2, the Spanish get 1. They're all willing to, take the cash. And that brought, these two are kind of stuck together. What I found is that these pop apart pretty easily. That's usually the case when there's discs that get stuck together or something. The paint is just a little tacky at some point. I've got some games though where I'm going to have to do something to remove them. Okay, we got another explorer here. Now, I don't think I can explore places that don't exist to try to get a free way to slip into them. No, it has to be in unexplored territory, which means I don't think there's much left that's cheap. Although Newfoundland actually was historically very easy to reach by sea. So let's take a look at what we're interested in. Interested in China, that's 4 away. Guyanas, India, Indochina, New France, West Africa, West Indies, and the Wild West. Well, we want to go for something that we're you know, not just going to get the discovery value for. There's a lot of places that are fairly easy to get into. So, we are looking at something we can get a majority in. I don't know what that orange is his. These two are both a problem. Well, what color is left? We got this crap. I think that's new. That's precious metals. That doesn't sound bad. There's gold here. Gold is always good because it can't be taken away. So I think we're going to go, we don't care about that though. But we do care about Guyanas. No, fuck me. Have people gone to places they don't care about? I'm forgetting some of the rules here about you only gain prestige when founding a colony. That's the conqueror. Discovery is not the case. Only founding a colony. And the only colony we founded is the Portuguese in Brazil, and they care about that. Okay, so do we care about Mexico, though? And it is called New Spain. We actually don't. That's the problem. And we do care about Guyanas, so I think I'd rather go into Guyanas, even though that gold monopoly is awfully tempting. Jeez. I don't know. I'm gonna go for Guyanas. So I grabbed 10 dice as always. I have seafaring of 1, so I'm looking for 3. And I don't get it, which blows chunks. Obviously, there's a decent amount of luck in this game compared to most Euro-style games. That makes me kind of happy. I like a certain amount of luck. That brings us to the English, who also have an explorer available. What do they care about? Australia, Canada, China, Guianas, East Indies, India, Indochina, New England, South Africa, West Indies. Well, we're in the West Indies. That's kind of cool. We actually could do a colony there. Well, Guyana again is of interest. We will go for Guyana as well. We also have 1 off, so we need a 3. Jesus. My dice roll all over the fucking place, don't they? Okay. A 3. Looks like we got it. So we get to put something here in Guyana. We get the prestige. And we get a monopoly in precious metals. Which is cool because we lost our other monopoly. And if I can find the card. Ah! Fuck. I took a token from here. That means an unrest marker. Somebody could rebellion us. How does rebellion work? Because otherwise I have to give up my last merchant fleet. Roll 1 die for each man. Multiply by the number of unrest tokens. Each success causes the loss of a counter. I'm going to chance it because I really can't afford to give up my merchant fleet. Although I have tons of cash, but I don't know that I'm going to have a monopoly. That puts us over here. He's got an explorer as well. He cannot explore or place outside of Brazil and the Americas, so he's done, basically. He can't expand into La Plata. Something that I love to do in, like, Conquistador or something. Because the Treaty of Tordesillas actually only works there in the solo game. that means Arabia, Ethiopia. Oh, did I cheat here? I cheated. Oh, no, I didn't. He just doesn't, he can't colonize that, but that's okay. So color-wise, there's a lot of slaves around. There aren't a lot of spices. So I'm going to go for the East Indies, which I'm sure I want to be in, I say. And yeah, there they are, East Indies. Another alternative is to go into like India or something, where we have tea, which is also fairly rare. We have this opium, which is fairly rare. All this shit, not silk, but tea and opium, China didn't have those originally. But yeah, they were able to produce them eventually. I don't know about opium. Yeah, let's go for the East Indies because that'll allow us to colonize it eventually. Although India is a more valuable place. So 10 dice. And this is, who the fuck is this? This is the Portuguese. So they're at -1, they need a 3. And they succeed. Okay. The Portuguese have some extra merchant fleets, so I'm going to spend one to get it into there. Gets them to 3, and that gets them a monopoly in spice, which must flow. And we get rid of their card. Okay, next card flips over. You probably can't see them very well. I know I can't. But sometimes the camera's vision is better than my own. We got a lot of merchants coming up, people who needed money. The English have a scientist missionary. Okay, so the Spaniards. They can spend economy to put a booming city where they have at least a counter. Well, what was the effect of a booming city? It can get you prestige. Do we care about West Africa? We do. And the booming city forces people to deliver our goods. What would it cost us to boom a city? I thought I had to have a colony for this. We look for governor, there it is. The problem is someone else can buy your booming city away from you pretty easily. And we only get a prestige if it's a colony. So I think we won't do this. I think we'll merchant instead, where we can bring up to 3 goods to market. We will bring our gold. And who do we want to help? Because there's enough goods out here that basically we can do whatever we like in terms of delivering other people's stuff. They're going to be willing to be delivered. I feel like England's got a pretty good start. However, the Portuguese have 2 monopolies, which doesn't really thrill me. And 3 locations. So I am going to offer to haul the 2 English things. That gives England yet more money. I don't see any reason why England would terribly object. They don't have a lot of counters there. So there goes the merchant. Another merchant for the Dutch. Well, the Dutch have 5 fleets. They will gladly carry a Spanish fleet. And the Spanish say, yeah, give me money. And I guess they'll carry 2 of each of the others if they're willing. The English are kind of like, sure, why not? because there's a lot of goods, there's a lot of Dutch goods. So that gives the Portuguese and the English each 2. The Portuguese definitely want the money. And we put 5 in there. Now, we could just throw one of these up there for that. And there's a lot of goods waiting to be traded. Okay. And now the French, who have nothing of their own, are thinking, well, I got stuff to deliver. I'll deliver Spanish stuff and English. And both say sure. Actually, the English are kind of like, I don't know, but at least we're getting a buck, you know? I mean, that money is worth something, and we don't feel like saying no to anyone. There might be players like Portugal who you might not want to say yes to because they've got a good standing otherwise. We got a scientist. Well, we got tons of money. I think our goal right now, if I look at our upcoming cards, we have a viceroy who says we're going to be able to put logistics in. We don't really need, we need one more token here to colonize that. Oh, we probably want a missionary, actually. We'll do the missionary instead. Fuck the scientist. And that's kind of a nice dichotomy, the missionary versus the scientist, because those definitely conflicted during this era. Here, a merchant versus a governor, well, I'm not sure. You know, but I think an argument can be made for each of these dichotomies or duels. Here we have the choice between governor, which could be a booming city, which could give us bonuses. How much money do we want to pay for our booming city? The other is we could ship goods to market and get some of our own stuff up there. And given that we have a trader, maybe we want to do that. But the booming city would get us money. So I'm kind of torn on this. I'm going to roll a die on this decision. I have chosen to go with a booming city. Now I look for the governor roll. I'm not sure this is wise. So now I can place a booming city for at least one. I don't see other colonies. So I'm going to just pay 1. Now, I don't have to do this so low. This becomes easier to steal, but that's okay. It also is less of an investment on my part. So there's a booming city there. I get a prestige because that's one of my... Normally you would just get one no matter what, but now you have to do it within areas that are important to you and still colonies. So that's my action, and we'll be on the 3rd, but I have to break. Except England has revealed a traitor. Now, there's a lot of stuff up here, and not big economies. Oh crap, did I screw something up? I don't know what those are. Opium and tea can't be done until somebody hits here, and slaves are outlawed when you hit here. All right. So he's the first who can move goods from equal to his economy. He is going to just move 2 of his own. Obviously, it would have made sense for there to be a scientist first, but it's hard, you know, to balance the actions that you want to do. The Dutch, well, their economy is the best. They'll just sell 4 of their own goods. You might be able to do something a la Rail Baron here, which is I'll deliver your goods, getting you $1 and me a token, and you deliver my goods. Maybe there are advantages to doing that. I didn't notice that before. French trade, just because it'll create extra money. So more free trade, more better, but in a weird sort of way. He can sell up to his economy. That's 2. And he feels slightly richer, but not enough money to boost that economy. In order to get that boost in economy, you either need a big inflow of cash coming in, or maybe you need to take a loan. The English have an extra financier. So I have a rebel. I could beat up on somebody, or I could move treasury to one explored territory. Well, this is almost ready to colonize. This is almost ready to colonize. However, I could steal a resource, a monopoly from the Portuguese. Doing so costs me a diplomatic step. What does it gain me? Not much, to be honest. Not much. So I am going to steal a treasury and put it here to prepare that for colonization. Really? Okay. And a trader here, his economy is only at 2. There are no green tokens up there, though. How'd that happen? What did he not? He governed instead of merchanting. Okay, so at this point, I can offer cash to someone else. And I look at the someone else's, and it's the Dutch, the English, and the Spanish. I feel like the English and Spanish are both doing too well. I'm willing to ship 2 Dutch things. The Dutch look at theirs and say, yeah, sure. Okay, which means the Dutch get $2 and the Portuguese get $2. And again, delivering somebody else's stuff creates more money. You deliver your own stuff, you only get $1. So working with other people is more advantageous than just trying to go it on your own, which feels a little weird to me, honestly. I wasn't thinking along those lines, and now I can see, hey, that's odd. Dutch still down to 4 cards in a turn. Okay. I have a scientist or a missionary. I can't colonize without a missionary. On the other hand, science. Science is good. What's coming up? I have an automatic missionary later, so I will do some science. What kind of science do I want to do? Weird science. Gosh. I think getting my economy up is probably my best move. Let's get rich. Science or missionary? Well, missionary is useless to me. Science. Science. I have decent money. I could go up to a 6. Is my money that decent? I'm not limited by logistics, which I find kind of strange. I would think they should be at least as limited as Portugal. The Dutch really, well, they had a capability to introduce themselves deeply into markets like China in a way that the Portuguese kind of failed to do. Okay. What is the restriction on those economy things? Tea and opium, you cannot place it on these. So $6 gives me a monopoly in those fields. 3, 6. It's a lot of money to spend. I don't have another card though. I throw that one on the floor. And now I've opened those markets up to me. And I can, once I have tons of money, shut down the slave market if I so desire, or keep the threat of it and, maybe become a monopolist in it. Where did triangular trade come in? There's a special rule on that, which I do not remember. Huh. I don't believe that was in the nations variant, but it might be. Okay. Trader. That's market treasury. Merchant. Okay, I am not seeing the triangular trade rule, which I know exists. India and China diplomacy, yeah. Forget about that. Aha! Under conquer. Steal a merchant fleet belonging to another player for every black-edged resource you control. Wow, that's rich. Oh, I like that. So, beiges would become important in conjunction. So, conquer, if you create a colony, it's only at the moment that you create the colony. You have to have slaves as well. All very interesting. Something to keep in mind that I'd kind of let fall from my head. Okay, I got a viceroy. Move treasury to an explored territory. Okay. Now, I could go slip into somebody else's area. That sounds like the best move for me. Ho ho! I have the slave monopoly now. Kind of for free. I could move more in there. Could move these other two if I had higher logistics. I only have a 1 logistics. Stealing a gold for 2, we'll just take the slave. That's good enough. Because that leaves us some cash, and we're kind of low on cash. Here we got a merchant and governor. Now, for $2, I could create my own booming city and steal this one away, which might just be worth it, even though I'm not going to get any prestige for it. I can get prestige when I create the colony, I believe. Or I can ship goods to market. However, I don't have a lot of merchant ships. So, since I seem to be collecting money no matter what, I have an economy big enough to pay 2. I am going to steal this away, and I don't know where I'll put it. Am I interested in the West Indies? I should be. Yes. Just put it here. And some things just happened. I may have lost some diplomacy off of doing that. Huh. I thought there was a diplomatic effect to stealing Booming City, but apparently not. Okay. I hope I moved the diplomacy down. Somebody did something evil, didn't they? Somebody was thinking about going in here and they didn't. So, okay. Lots of somebodies in this game, aren't there? And then the final one here is the Portuguese, who could do science, but they're going to do their missionary and try to prevent themselves from getting hurt. And that puts us to the last card. No Dutch. Science and missionary. This is the black missionary, and I can't. An explorer ambassador. A trader financier. Okay. Well, this can only do a missionary, and I'm only in one place. So I am going to play my mission over here, although it's not clearly mine anymore. Dutch are not in. Science or missionary? Well, bonus. Guess it's science. Unfortunately, I can't afford much. I could afford a seafaring. Or I could play another missionary. I mean, the problem is I'm losing my cash on this. But let's boost our seafaring. Thinking that that might be best. I don't know. It definitely affects me. I have to like spend money next turn. Trader or financier? I do not need a loan. So goods from the market to your treasury. This is based on the economy, plus all your colonies' native powers. Ooh, I forgot about that aspect. They would have been able to maybe trade more. Did they spend a trader? They did. They would have been able to get a couple more bucks. I'm going to say that they did that. That's $2 there and $2 there because they have a colonist. They have a colony. They're the only ones with one. Okay, and the Dutch would have let them. Okay, so goods from market to treasury, the economy plus colonists. The economy for the Brits is only 2. I'm going to take my own because I don't feel like I've made any great deals. And, geez, I'll take a Dutch one. And take a bucky. And that's that. And finally, the Portuguese can explore or they can ambassador. Ambassador would be, oh, that can get rid of unrest too. Just to pump up to here if you need your science or whatever. But I would rather do an exploration. So, where are we going to go? Well, I don't know. Got to look at my desires. India has silk. Nobody's in the silk trade yet. I think that's a reasonable shot. If we can get that to be a colony, that'll be fantastic. Right now it's a 4. You know, we're actually better at getting to this because it's adjacent, so we'll do that. It's only a 3. But do we care about, is this Siam? Indochina. Do we care about Indochina? Because if we don't, we may not want to go in there. We do care about it. Sure. We'll do it. We get the 3. Lucky we did Indochina. And we can take a merchant fleet. We have a lot of monopolies. We get a prestige. We're doing pretty damn well here. We're up to 5. Get to 6, we get rid of the treaty. Ooh, those greens and blues are looking similar. I may start putting stickers on things. Slowly, slowly. Okay. That ends the base part of the turn, or whatever it is, I don't know what it's called. Endeavor. Like the game. Merchant fleets. Spaniards. I got 1. Merchant fleets are definitely a good thing. Gonna push another one in. The Dutch, I can always push 2 into play. I have a lot of merchant fleets already. Next turn is exploration. Yeah. Exploration eats up merchant fleets if you do it right. French. French have a monopoly. They have no money. Fuck, that's what's wrong. Okay, Brits have a monopoly. Definitely want more merchant fleets. Portuguese have 3 monopolies. They're going to boost themselves up hard. And the Spaniards have 1 monopoly. Oh, I don't like using up that money, but I can always do some merchant actions. Foist. Okay. First player moves over to the Dutch, who at this point will start to be able to explore and jump on the scene. Naval forces. Okay. Dutch Navy is there. I don't have a whole hell of a lot of money, but I don't know that I need a whole hell of a lot. It's up the Navy. I could build 2, but I don't want to. French, no money. English. English, up the Navy. Portuguese, up the Navy. We're weak. We were getting picked on before, but there's less desire to do that because if you're taking an action, one of your vital actions to go smack someone, well, that's costing you more than it was before when like France couldn't do shit. Spain is going to stay with their navy. They're kind of cash poor. In fact, they're too cash poor. They can't pay their luxury tax. And that puts us to another turn. So I set up the cards programming, and that kind of reminds me of Robo Rally type thing. I've never actually played that, but this concept of pre-programming everything, kind of painful. But still, I'll tell you this much. I think I'm avoiding loans way too much. I have not programmed anyone yet with the thought of, oh yeah, I need a loan. The reason being, it's easy enough to get money off your trade at this point in the game. I think maybe early in the game, there were times when some loans, especially maybe to get your economy boosted because there's not a lot of money there. Of course, those are expensive to gain and you don't have a whole lot. But I don't think you want to leave loans out there. I think they just start becoming too painful. Anyway, the Dutch are first going with, I guess, an exploration. Well, we can start going into China or India. They're equal, so let's go into India first. It's a base of 4. Our seafaring takes it down to 3, and we've got an adjacency, so it's 2. It's pretty easy to find stuff now. Boom, we're in. We're going to actually expend one of our merchant fleets because we have so many, and I guess we'll start dealing in tea. It's equally rare with opium. We also get a diplomacy point. Ooh, pretty cool. Over here, we were looking at the merchant option. We don't have a colony, so governorship doesn't seem like a good idea. The merchant is able to ship to the market. 1 per trading fleet, right? And I have 2 merchant fleets. Well, I have one of my own commodities, but I'm not allowed to take that. I have to take a British commodity, which gives them $1, and then I can take my own as well. These go here. Now, there's no revolt, so there's no chance of piracy. I had to remember that. Okay. And that gets us out of the way. We made no money yet. One of the problems with shipping, the money doesn't come quickly. The English, same position. We can ship one of our own, and we have 1 more. Who do we want to deal with? Well, honestly, we think France is not doing terribly well. We haven't made any deals yet. We'll put that there. I'm beginning to get more of a feel for that programming, what order I want to do things in. Green, same thing, merchant or a governor. Governorship, I could seize control of this. However, I kind of wanted to use the merchant because I have 4 shipping things. I got to ship 1 British. Look at that money they're making. Okay. I got 3 more that I can ship. Those can be all my own product. So I don't have to pay anyone. Should I be cutting deals? Jeez, I find that so hard to do. I think it's a part of the game. Although maybe an unintended one. Like I said, it kind of reminds me of Rail Baron, where, yeah, if you agree to ride the other guy's rails all the time, neither of you have to pay anything. I gotta swap some batteries out. I noticed that's like green, so I either have to fiddle it or swap the excess battery. Now I have 3 batteries, so life's a little more complicated. But while maybe more complicated, it's better in the sense that I shouldn't run out of batteries once I have them all charged. Plus, I have a little charger that actually works on this camera. My others, the charger part died, which was one reason I got that thing. Okay, we got another guy doing merchants, yellow. He's got a whole ton of things. He does not have a colony. He definitely kind of wants one, but he's got 5 things he can ship. 1 red. Look at that money. Look at that money. I'll pull my own. That's 2. I got 3 more that I can throw out there. I'm willing to haul a French one. 3. 2 more. I don't want to help the Portuguese. The English look so rich. I will haul a Dutch. Whoa, it's the Dutch who snuck in here? I screwed up, didn't I? No, I did not. Awesome. I'll haul a Dutch one. Giving them $1. And what else? It's got to be Portuguese or English. I don't like doing either, I gotta tell you, but I want my counters out there. Do I want them that terribly? I know I've got a trader coming up. My economy's pretty good. I am not going to send all mine. I'm just gonna drop that there. And with those times 5s, I get the feeling that this is a game where there's no real limit on the counter mix for the cubes, or for the discs. That gets us to flipping over new ones. And again, you know, you're paying multiple cards to fuel your economy, but it's better than taking out loans. That's just how I feel here. Ship goods to market for each of your merchant fleets. I got 2, 4, 6. 1 English. Has to be done. We'll take our own. We'll take a French. Oh look, they're making money now. We'll take a Spanish. Although Spain really needs money, you kind of wish you could hold the hammer over them. You want money too. You want to get your things out there. And I've got, you know, a big trader card coming up. I think this one. Right? Nope, that's another merchant. I get to ship more. Okay. Now I'm at 4. I got 2 more coming. What are my 2 more? I can't govern reasonably. I mean, I could, but what else? I hope I remembered to take a merchant fleet out. I think I did, but it looks like a lot of merchant fleets here. Portugal. I could do 1 more English and 1 Portuguese. You know, giving England money doesn't seem like that bad a thing. They've got so damn much of it. But they only have 2, so now I have to ship a Portuguese thing. Or nothing, you know. But 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll put my stuff out there. Get rid of that. A French, a trader. Now I can move goods from market to treasury, equal to my, I can only move 2. Should those be my own, or should I be trying to cut a deal with someone? I don't, I just can't trust, you know? I can make twice the money if I cut a deal with someone. And if I'm sure someone else is behind, like Spain maybe, you know, I might cut that deal with them. don't know what this is from. I got an explorer or an ambassador. Ambassador isn't going to help me. So let's go exploring. Well, we would like, can't get opium, fur, or of course gold are open. Well, Central America does not interest us. What is it called? New Spain. However, now South Africa, we could steal a monopoly from green. There's a cost to that. Fur. Yeah, let's go for New York. Is there fur down here? No, there's cotton. Cotton does not help us. Yeah. Let's go for New York. It's a 5. That's pretty hefty. I got 1 off. I need 4 successes. This would only be a 3. No, let's go for the gold. So that's a 3-2. And we barely made it. Awesome. I'll spend a merchant fleet on this. Get that there. It's colonization that you don't get it for. You do get it for discovery. That's gone. And I just got a monopoly in gold. Now, let me make sure that you don't get a prestige. Yeah, you don't get a prestige for creating a monopoly. You lose one for stealing someone's monopoly. Just wanted to make sure of that. Now, this is a missionary or a scientist. Is there a real reason for me to take a missionary? I don't think so. I don't feel that need. What was my reason for a scientist? I can't drive this up, but for trade. So I'm going to spend $2, $4, and push my trade, my economy further for the trade. Explorer, ambassador, you know, jeez, I'd like to. I want this card. Peru has gold and is valuable to me. La Plata has gems. That would take that away from France. Let's see. Amazonia, California, East Indies, Guianas. La Plata, New France, New Spain. The Brits went into New Spain. Screwed me out of that. Peru, which would be a 5. That's a hard roll, but I've got 2 seafaring in my favor. West Africa's filled. West Indies, yeah. Okay, Peru it is. So we're looking for a 3 to get the last gold in Peru. And we fail. And yeah, I don't like rolling dice that way, but I'm holding too many too large. You know, and they're special dice, so I can't just put little sneeze dice in. Well, my little SPI dice and play for it. All right. So, next card up. Merchant. France is going to go exploring. Science or missionary. You probably have enough missions. Trader. One thing to do, I mean, attack a place, do the conquistador thing where you spend money instead of your merchant fleets. You might want to do that. And then if I had known I had this coming, which I should have, know that I can go up with a missionary right afterwards. But on the other hand, I do kind of want science with all that money. I can drive my economy. That was the plan. Merchant or governor. Governor can't. I mean, I could steal away that British advantage of money, which would be useful. Ship goods to market, though. Put another big pile out there. Or do I want to pay $3 to steal? Oh, jeez. I'm worried that I'm screwing up the governorship. I feel like it had something to do with something other than what I'm paying attention to. This really needs better cheat sheet, I think. Must discard at least more treasuries than the value. If there's no booming cities, he cannot pay more. Nope. So I could just pay $3, which is all I have, move a booming city. I would start getting cash off of other people shipping. But I think I'm going to ship instead. I have to ship in English. More money for them. Let's get 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So that was in English. I ship my own. I'll ship a French. I hate that I'm giving people money, but, you know. I'll ship a Spanish. The Spanish definitely should not get more money. And I could just stop there with just 4, but we don't want to do that. We'll ship 2 more English. Just going to throw money at the English. Explorer or ambassador? Ambassador is useless to me. Explorer. Where do we want to go? Australia, Canada. That fur did not get taken. China. We could not do the opium trade. We're not rich. We're not. Our economy is not good enough. Indochina. New France. That's not going to help us terribly. West Africa, West Indies, and the Wild West. All right. I guess we'll go for Canada. We have 2 off the shipping, which puts us down to a 3. And we win. That gets us the fur monopoly. So we'll be able to rebuild our ship off that. Go to the English here. Science. We'll push the economy up. I think that's our main hurt here. We can take out a loan. We wanted to trade. Trade is market to treasury. I could pull 4. I could pull just my own. Again, nobody particularly wants to work with me because I'm definitely doing pretty damn well right now. I got 5 of these. I get 1 more. I get rid of the Treaty of Tordesillas for myself. Viceroy. Treasury to an explored territory. Rebel, I could cause problems. I am only explored in one area for myself. Now I could go seize someone else's shit. He's got the slaves monopoly. which I would then take. There goes my diplomacy. I am going to pull 2 treasury out of Viceroy. Put that here. That wins here. So my pieces go underneath. He loses his slaves monopoly. I gain the slaves monopoly. There's a casus belli. I dominate that region at this point, which means I can colonize it. I can colonize it the traditional way. I was actually not hoping to do that. Looks like I gotta swap batteries. Go to the hastening of the storyline, just to, not worry so much about the activational cards. First of Trader, here you can see bunches of money pulled in through that. Over here, Viceroy. What did I use the Viceroy for? I used it to boost myself in France, or in Canada. Trying to walk slowly. Viceroy here had a lot of money, so I threw it into Mexico instead of the Caribbean. Although that city gives me an advantage that might have been valuable. Remember, fucking Portuguese. Shit. Let's see. Market to treasury. The Portuguese actually could have pulled more money in. They had 2 more they could pull in. I don't know where I would have taken that from. I'll take a buck because I can use more money. And what the hell? We'll give more money to the English because, whatever. But this turn they did an exploration. They got themselves into China, grabbing another silk. I could have done this. That would take away nothing. I was afraid it would take away my monopoly. And used a merchant fleet for that. The Spanish here did a trade. They do not have a colony. I gotta pay attention to those colonial forces. So they grabbed a little bit of money, pulling their own shipping in, and now we're down to the last card. Forgot about the Viceroy roll. I can't put 4 in there. I can only put 1 in there because I don't have a lot of logistics. For the final cards, Viceroy here, I filled in the rest of India. That's all I can do with my logistics. That took silk away from the Portuguese and therefore cost me a point. Okay. Over here, French, I'm tempted to go to war, but I could colonize, and grabbing a prestige that way seems like a valuable thing, although picking on the Portuguese would probably be really worthwhile. It's the Spaniards I want to fight. I don't have that much of an advantage over them. I have a disadvantage here. We'll wait that out a little bit. English played a trader, grabbed more money. You can see they got piles. They shipped a lot of Dutch goods and gave the Dutch piles more money too. The Portuguese tried to explore Australia, and they failed. And then the Spaniards didn't have enough money to up their economy, which they would have liked to do. They had enough that they could, but then they wouldn't be able to pay this. They'd lose their last prestige. So instead, they went for logistics, so they can slap lots of pieces in at once. In a way, that's not good, because Extremadura allows them to, colonize things cheap. But, whatever. In fact, I should have been set up to do that here. Why did I not? I don't know. I don't know. Now we look for the sequence of play. It'd be useful, I don't know if these cards had the sequence of play on them or something. There's a real limitation in terms of the amount of player aid information in here. And given the back of the rule book has some, but given that you have to kind of page through to find shit quite a bit. It's kind of painful. And there we go. Okay, so merchant fleets are next. Why not? I actually have 4 monopolies. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll just get that merchant fleet power up there. The French have 1 monopoly we need to buy. The English have 2 monopolies. They feel like they need 2. The Portuguese, they're down to 2. Again, these things are valuable. The Spaniards are at 2. Now I need $1 left. Do I need all these merchant fleets? No, but I'll pull 1 more in. It helps me grab my cash. We've gone around through that. First player marker moves up to the French. Naval forces. Keep buying. Not at a high rate, but we want to keep them going. The English have just a 1 navy. We definitely want to keep pumping them out. The Portuguese feel scared. The Spaniards, I need cash. I'm going to hold on to that. So that puts us then to loan interest. There isn't any, and we pay our luxury tax there. And now we're ready to go here. Comfortable nor awake enough at this point. Ooh, it says 7:06 on my thing. That means I've already gone over an hour, if that's correct. I'll do this turn and load it. I thought I don't know. I still don't know if I understand this camera. It should be like my old one. What do we got here? I was trying to say something. I'm not really awake enough to do the summarize after taking a full round or whatever. I might get more into the flavor of that in a moment, but what happened is I'm back to my old damn sleeping schedule. I was fine over the weekend. I was obviously fine when I had no power because I couldn't be awake during the night for the most part. But, you know, first day of work comes and boom. Go to sleep a little too late. Get maybe 3-4 hours of sleep. Wake up and it's 2 hours until I gotta wake up. You know, I gotta start work. And so I'm like, well, fuck it. I'll just stay awake. Yeah. I do not feel good, and worse than that, I have to go shopping because we can't go shopping right now for normal shopping, but I was planning on going right after work, running out with a backpack and grabbing emergency supplies, essentially, and getting a meal at a Chinese buffet before that. I don't know if I can do it. I feel like I'm going to pass out right now. Okay. So the French are the first now, and I certainly do not want to do a governor action. I don't think. I think I needed cash, which means the merchant action. What does the merchant do? Ships goods to markets for each of the merchant fleets. Okay. Did I do these right? Fuck. Okay. He's planning on the end of his turn, and nobody knows this yet because they haven't even flipped the card to reveal, to boost his economy to level 10. I thought it was going to be the first thing he did, and, you know, get the slave embargo in place. Not that he particularly wants to hurt either Spain or France, but you know what? What the hell? You know, he's got the power to do it, and he can pump his economy up and buy a lot more stuff that way. So merchant, what are we going to ship? Well, we have to ship the English good first. So I should put this here. This is only by merchant ships. So I only get to ship 2, and I'll ship my furs as well. And that puts, sorry, not in there, up there. I hope I'm planning on trading them, because otherwise I'm not going to get any cash. I feel like resources should be depleted after being used. Like, I don't know. There should be some way of flipping it over or something. Most of these transport type games, there's a limited amount of resources produced in each space. I'm not sure it makes sense that each player can deliver all the resources on the board each time. That feels a little false to me. Okay, we come over here. Well, I sure the hell am not doing a sovereign. What I'm doing is a conquer. Found a colony in a territory where you control all the resources and have at least as many counters. I'm going to do that here. I could do it down there as well. Now, but the advantage of this is I have the city there. This is, West Indies has Port Royal. So, first of all, since I have West Indies, I get a prestige marker for that, but I believe I also get one for Port Royal. However, I'm going to look that up and make certain of it. And look, I'm out of the Tordesillas Treaty. Funny thing is, the Tordesillas Treaty doesn't affect anyone else in any way. I like the way some other games handle it, which is, well, it kind of makes sense. You can go to war with anyone, so, screw it, right? And it's not like, the advantage with EU is that you don't actually have to declare war as a holder of one of the people who has a Tordesillas region to knock people out of those regions. And that advantage isn't really expressed in any way in this game. So what I'm looking up here is the governor, if I can find him. If a territory of the colony gains 1 prestige when a booming, if the colony is founded with 1, yes. So I do get the prestige at that point. And that puts me up to 6, which is equal to the Portuguese. The Portuguese did not want to govern. They don't own anywhere that they have enough people. They could actually create a colony there eventually, which means they're going to be doing merchants. I have 5 of these. I have to carry an English. I can carry 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of my own. And I'm going to do that. Again, there might be advantages by cutting deals with people, but no one is going to go with the leader. And that gets rid of this card. Okay, well, we have a trader, which is goods from market to your treasury. Now, my economy is a 4, and I have no colonies. So all I can do is move 4 out of there. I could move anybody's money. I'm sure the hell not going to move Portugal's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push 2 French money and 2 Dutch money. I hope I put them in the right places. That'll give me $4 of my own for delivering. Over here, didn't want to do an ambassador, so I'm going to explore with the Dutch. Where do I want to go? Well, Dutch only have a 1-point fleet, and they're the end of the line. So I'm going to cut off, and because I don't like rolling the dice with the camera, I can use 2 fists, with this, make it easier on me. Let's see if I can remember the line. First thing is the exploration was to New Amsterdam. That broke the fur monopoly, which is now gone at a cost of diplomacy. The French did a trader, pulled some cash in, and gave it to other people. They didn't have their own stuff to haul. The English failed at an exploration attempt on South Africa. Here was a trade. This was kind of a shame. I probably, if financier wasn't on the other side, if something useful was on the other side of that, I might have done it. Because I could only pull 3 things in with my trade. I actually have quite a bit of trade with all the colonies I have and everything. There wasn't enough on the market. So we're kind of seeing where the ordering is really mattering. People are doing trades and not a lot of people are doing the merchant or whatever. Spanish Viceroy. How necessary was this? Well, what they did, they have no diplomacy, so they just snuck in, grabbed the spice monopoly in the East Indies. They're allowed to go there, and now they have enough in there for a couple bucks. They just sailed in there and took it over to be able to create a colony there now. And we finish up with the Dutch, who also did a viceroy, but they just filled in their New England section. They too could have, spent $3 to go in here, but their diplomacy, they don't want to fuck around with that. There's no real reason. They have a couple monopolies. They actually have 4 monopolies, so they have plenty of capacity to get merchant fleets, and they have plenty of merchant fleets. Whew. All right. A lot of good science going on here. French upped their economy to 4. Now, this is a weird, kind of odd choice here, because, for example, Spain doesn't have to up their economy because they're so good at colonizing. I'm not taking advantage of that, and it's hurting them. But you could play this 2 ways, basically. If you get a lot of colonies, you don't need your economy to be big because your merchants can pull, is it merchants or traders? Traders can pull a bunch of goods into your holdings throughout the world and make you a lot of money, the asiento, right? But everybody's kind of been going more on a sparse colonization path this game. I don't know what I'm doing, and working more on getting their internal economy built. Now, historically, that is the better solution. Look at the countries who relied upon their colonies for an economy, and you're looking at things like Spain and, to a lesser extent, Portugal. And then look at the countries that relied upon developing their own economy. You're looking at things like France and England and the Dutch, who made huge quantities of money by simply pulling stuff into the European markets. So you have kind of a crapshoot either way. But the thing is, the game rewards colonies by giving you prestige. Now, especially in the base game, but in this version, as long as you target your colonies, and that's kind of a pain in the butt, you kind of get to put things where you want them. Anyway, some science by the English. What did they do? They upped their logistics. They've got a viceroy coming up, and they're going to want to slap some pieces down. Scientist by the Portuguese. I can't touch that. I believe they upped their economy so they can slip into the silk and opium trades and, maybe get their way into a colony in China. Although a real colony is painful there. I mean, anywhere where there's a huge population, you've got to throw a lot of discs in there for that to work. This was a merchant. Paid a lot of people. But then the Dutch did the same with a merchant, and they said, you know what? I'm going to cut you a deal. We'll each sell each other's goods, so we'll make twice as much money that way. Neither one's doing all that well. The Dutch, the English and the Portuguese are running away with the game right now in terms of victory points. So the Dutch are like, let's just work together. We're both set up. We're both putting a lot of things in here. Let's ship the other guy's stuff. And you're allowed to do that, and double your money that way. So that's what I expect to see, and we can peek. We got a trader there. I bet you we got a trader here. We do not. Uh-oh. guess that deal won't go because, you know, the Dutch are going to want to pull their own goods. Actions this time. French explorer founded New France down here, but I did it out of treasury, thereby provoking unrest. I feel like that's safe because I'm not in the lead. Are people really going to waste an action to rebel on me at this point in the game? Probably not. We'll see, you know, but I can always do a missionary later. English viceroy. They could have piled up pieces here, but getting a colony here doesn't give them a prestige. So they piled them up in West Africa. They have a lot of... No, they don't have that much money. I fucked up. Okay. I gotta rethink this. I also didn't charge them what they're owed. They only have a logistics of 2. What can they do with a logistics of 2? Is there anywhere they could slip into that would help them? Jesus. Yeah, logistics 2 is not terribly good. I have enough economy that I could slip into China with a couple pieces. Of course, that's going to cost me 2 points of taking stuff. So I don't know. I really don't know. Because I could break two monopolies that way. There's no fur available. I just fucked up and I can't think of what I was doing. All right, we will grab these 2, cost ourselves 2 points of diplomacy, and take away the tea and opium monopolies from the Dutch. I don't know how big a deal that is, but, you know, it seems like a good idea to get myself installed somewhere. And that'll get me closer to places like Japan. An explorer for the Portuguese, where did they try to go? I think they went for Japan and failed. An explorer for the Spanish, they went for Peru and failed. Grab another gold monopoly. I mean, they have plenty of monopolies, so maybe it's not that big a deal. Stealing the spice one was really kind of a dick move, superior. But then the Dutch traded and pulled their own tokens out of the pool. And that puts us to the last cards. Okay, French get a viceroy. They certainly don't want to rebel against themselves. And they just pumped the additional units into here. Hey, I followed the rules this time. English did a trader, pulled a bunch of Spanish money mainly, and got themselves more cash. They kind of don't need it, but, you know, I don't know. The Dutch are running up a good score of money, too. They're just not getting the victory points. Portuguese did an exploration, which cost them a diplomacy by getting into Japan, where there's like, what is it, precious metals, I believe. I don't know. Okay, there aren't gems. I thought there were gems. Okay. The Spaniards, I hid their card. It was a scientist, with which they upped their economy. Again, if they don't have a lot of colonies and they have 0, they need that to be increased. And finally, the Dutch also did a scientist, and they bought the 10 economy, thereby making slaves a problem. Now, interesting things could happen. For example, Spain could make this a big city, a booming city, and force everyone to take diplomatic hits. And they're kind of excited about that idea. The Dutch are actually are not as interested in that because their diplomacy is not at the bottom of the track. But it'll mean that people who want to engage in trade, actually I think it's merchants. It confuses me because this feels more like the trade and the merchants feels like something else. And you know what I'm forgetting? I keep forgetting about triangular trade. How does it happen? Jesus. Is it on here? It probably is not. Nope. It's one of those little rules, and you know, I don't fucking remember where it is. I think it's under, here it is. It's under the conquer. So it's when you create a colony. If you have a black-edged resource, which is slaves. Hold on. You need a beige resource, which is the tobacco, sugar cane, and something else. Cotton, which is down here. And then you colonize that. Had he had black-edged resources when he colonized, that would have affected the triangular trade, and he could steal a merchant fleet from someone. That is a hard rule to remember. It really is. Because it's tucked here, and it's like something that you should be considering at all times. But we haven't seen a lot of colonization going on, so I guess it doesn't hurt. And now we flip through this fucking rule book of emptiness. I mean, there's just so little in the rule book. It could be done in a one-sheet fold out. Not that that would be particularly easy to cope with, but, and merchant fleets. No monopolies for the French. English have a monopoly. Money is nowhere near as useful. Portuguese have one monopoly. They have a decent amount of money. Spain has three monopolies. I don't have that kind of money. I have a lot of fucking merchant fleets. I think, you know, this is the weird thing. Why does Spain have so many fucking monopolies? And nobody's taking them away from them. I don't think I can afford to keep throwing money into the merchant fleets. I think I got enough until I start colonizing or expanding some more. It's not a big deal. Oh, the Dutch. It's only money, man. Money's useless, right? I mean, you know, some people just do not need the money. The first player marker moves. Time to build navies. The English. Yeah. It's only money, man. Not seeing any warfare. The Portuguese, you know, falling behind, and I'm in the lead. I am just a target. Spain, I probably don't need a navy. The Dutch have a lot of money. But they feel like they're kind of in a backwater situation. But if they make a big grab for victory points somehow, this is going to be kind of problematic. And it's still only money. I could actually shift two of these. I got plenty of cash. The French have a big navy. They're not the only person with a big navy. They have some advantages in warfare in terms that they have an extra card. There's not a lot they can gain, though. I mean, here they're behind, but you know they could do some damage to the Spanish. But who cares about that? I don't feel like I can afford building ships the way the Dutch can, so I'm going to hold off on that. No loans out, and that puts us to the end of the turn. Let me put this die on top because I caught myself rolling only 9 dice for things that counted and lasted over. And I'm going to load this one up. It's obviously, I hope, about 20 minutes longer, like an hour and 20, which I wasn't counting on. We'll see if that's actually the case. I won't find out until I load it up to YouTube because my file joiner doesn't do the metadata, which is fine. Okay.